Hello everyone and welcome to Season 6, Episode 16 of Pro Wrestling's Top 50. I'm your host Travis McNeil, and today we continue our countdown of the top 50 matches of 2021 with match number 35 on our list, which is the last Daddy Standing match between Effy and Parrow from the No Peace Underground Effy's Fear the Gay Agenda event held on June the 11th of 2021. This is probably, I'm going to say, the most unique match that I've ever done on this show. For starters, it's a no-ring match, so No Peace Underground, if you're unfamiliar, it is a Florida-based promotion, although they've, run lots of other places in recent time, that does the whole no-ring deathmatch craze, I'll call it. I love deathmatch wrestling. You've seen that covered a lot in these videos. But for whatever reason, I've never really gotten into this no-ring thing. Maybe I don't think of myself as a wrestling traditionalist. I just said I like death matches, but maybe I am a traditionalist in the sense that I prefer a ring. I don't know, but they just haven't done much for me. But that said, No Peace Underground does this thing that I find kind of cool, where for whatever reason, all of these non-deathmatch wrestlers go there and do death matches. And I don't know if I've ever mentioned it, on the show here, but that's one of my favorite things is, guys that don't normally do death matches, stepping into that realm and seeing how they do. I think it's super cool. I always find it very compelling. I know there's been a lot of talk on social media of people saying, if you don't do death matches, don't start doing them, leave those spots open, for the deathmatch wrestlers. And I don't agree with that whatsoever. I think do what makes you happy and try things that you want to do. If you want to try a death match, go for it. Don't ever feel pressured into it or anything like that. But, fuck all that noise of veteran wrestlers telling you not to take their spots. If you are, worthwhile for those spots, then those other people have some catching up to do. That's just my personal opinion on it. Maybe that's not popular. I don't really care. I think that everybody needs to do better, and this whole, gatekeeping thing is ridiculous to me. So, for starters, this is a no-ring match, so a little bit different, a little bit weird. But on top of that, it's a last Daddy Standing match. So what that is, it's basically a last man standing match, but with the caveat that, not only do you have to keep your opponent down for the count of 10, you have to sit in this throne, while the referee makes the count. I am a straight man, I don't, really necessarily get, all of the gay elements of this. However, at the end of the day, pro wrestling, is presented as this, violent art form in a match like that. And that's something that, I don't care what your background is. I think, we all have this visceral, side of us that, we can connect to that and we can relate to that. And this match is... It sounds, funny. I always find it a little hokey when, some people, really kind of lay on the wrestling is art sort of thing. But this match is beautiful. It's really well shot. It's got this chaotic feel. The production values to it are amazing. Both of these guys basically have like the independent equivalent of WrestleMania entrances for this, which we'll get into in a second. This match is it's beautiful. It's got all of this sexual tension between Effy and Parrow, and it's honestly a masterpiece. And this match, I'm going to be completely honest, when I watched it after it happened, I really wasn't expecting too much. I think Effy is great. I love Parrow. My friend TJ Hawk many years ago coined, the phrase fucking Parrow to describe him. I think he's the man. I love, big beefy hoss wrestlers, which is what, exactly he is. So, I was like, okay, these two guys doing a death match sounds kind of weird. Neither one of them are really death match wrestlers. I know Effy's dabbled in it in GCW. Parrow, I had seen take a single tube shot in a match also for No Peace Underground previously. So wasn't sure how it was going to go, and it blew me away. This is one of the best hidden gem matches of 2021. It's one of the best overall death matches all year. I don't care if we're talking US, Japan, Mexico, doesn't matter. This match is brutal. It's violent. It's beautiful. It tells a great story. I love everything about it, and I really want more eyes on this match because it is so good. If you can, get past the fact that it basically takes, stage in this, pit with a big stage behind it as opposed to a wrestling ring, if you can get past that, it's really cool. And like I said, the atmospherics here for this match and the theatrics are so good. So, Parrow makes his entrance and he's got all of these, gimps with him, and he, sits in the throne and looks like this incredible badass. And Effy, makes his entrance and they play pretty much the entire, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road song by Elton John. And he rides like this sports car down the street, and they, film him coming from the street. He's got these, shirtless guys with him in the car, like all the way into the arena. And it's really, really cool. Like I said, it feels like a scummy indie deathmatch WrestleMania. It's really neat. The story here is really good too. So, Effy, does his big gay brunch events, on WrestleMania weekend through GCW. And he's booked Parrow basically as like the twink hunter. So he does like all of these gauntlet matches and stuff like that where he just destroys, all of these twink wrestlers that Effy brings in. Again, not super in touch with the whole gay community, support it. But, I don't really know the different terms, so I apologize if I speak out of term here. But, so the story here is that, Effy's pissed off at Parrow for that. It leads to this big grudge match. And they start out and they go nose to nose, and Parrow shoves Effy, and Effy comes, throwing back hands, and they really convey that this is a serious grudge match. And they do such a great job with that. Very quickly, Effy smashes a big bundle of tubes over Parrow's head, and it cuts up his back, something fierce. And they really quickly establish the rules of this match where, Effy sits in the throne and the referee starts counting, and Parrow gets up, rather quickly, of course, with it being so early in the match. This dude's back is like mangled, wife beater, Jun Kasai style. There's blood all over the, stage and all over the floor pit area by the stage before all is said and done. Effy, plants a kiss on Parrow early on. I talk about the sexual tension in this match. And Parrow just like ruins him by throwing him repeatedly into the barricades and hitting all of these chair shots to the head and splashing him with a big bundle of tubes and getting, a near fallout, off of that with Effy being able to answer the 10 count. They brawl all through the arena, over to the bar, through the merch tables. They brawl out onto the streets. And again, we get like all of this awesome, HD camera work of these guys fighting on the streets with the fans rushing out with them. And it's all really cool and just creates this great atmosphere. The bar that, No Peace Underground runs out of in Florida has got a really cool vibe to it. So the whole thing just looks like something you kind of want to, experience live. So this match is also like a great, sell job for that promotion as being this live experience that you want to check out. The throne that they sit in's got like a fabric back that's just covered in blood by the end of this for another cool visual. They do some wild stuff here for, like I said, two guys that you don't really think of as deathmatch wrestlers per se. Effy dives off the stage and Parrow catches him and basically like tosses him overhead back onto the stage onto a bundle of light tubes. There's a bundle of light tubes that's taped against the wall, and Parrow just powerbombs Effy into the wall, into this bundle, which is crazy. At this point, Effy is like barely hanging on there and is barely able to beat these counts. They trade gusset plates to the head. They trade light tube bundles. Parrow hits the Fire Thunder driver, the Rikishi driver, whatever you want to call it, on the stage, and Effy's barely able to beat the count. Effy kind of goes into like this desperation mode. Parrow gets like a barbed wire bat, and Effy starts backing off and then low blows him and, tees off on him with the bat. He throws him off the stage through this huge light tube log cabin that's on top of a door wedged across two chairs. Parrow's barely able to beat the count. They do all of these great grudge match visuals where, bloody Parrow is flipping off Effy and eating chair shots to the head, and there's puddles of blood everywhere that they're getting awesome camera shots of. It's just a really cool, I'll use the word again, like really artistic vibe to this match. And the finish is absolutely crazy. So I talk about, Effy being in desperation mode. He's got this gigantic beast of a man that he's struggling to beat. He's barely surviving these counts from all the punishment that he's taken. He's thrown this man off the stage through a cabin. That didn't work. So the only thing really left to do is escalate the violence even more. And he, lights this pane of glass on fire across a door, across, chairs. And he tries to throw Parrow off the stage, who counters it and choke slams Effy through this flaming pane of glass off a stage. It is onto concrete, right? It's a cement floor, that these guys are bumping onto, if I haven't mentioned that already. So it's this crazy, wild bump that Effy takes. It's enough to keep him down for the 10, but we get one last great visual, to end this match of Parrow sitting in the throne and Effy just barely clawing himself up to, be at Parrow's side, as Parrow is deemed the last daddy standing. Post-match, we get this really respectful, celebration between these two. Effy cuts this amazing, fiery, pro pride promo, basically just saying, the name of the show is Fear the Gay Agenda, and he drives that home about, again, I'll say it, the masterpiece that these two created. A really great promo, they pay off, Parrow's apprehension to the kiss earlier, and they pay that off with a kiss. And it's a really great ending to the match too, and the crowd gives them a great response. This match, like I said, is one of the best death matches all year. It comes out of nowhere. It's bloody, it's brutal, it's beautiful, it's everything that I love about wrestling. I had a really hard time with the placement of this match on the countdown, because, when I do this list, I have all of this different criteria that I weigh in, and, there's a big difference between, best and favorite, and there was so many great, technically best matches of 2021, and this is a no-ring match. Maybe it can't compare to some of the amazing, well-wrestled classics of the year, but it was absolutely one of my favorite matches. It's so fun. It's so good. It's so cool. I love everything about it. If this flew under your radar, which I'm expecting it did for a lot of you, go check it out on IWTV. You can thank me later. If you're a deathmatch fan, you owe it to yourself to see this one. If you're a fan of Effy, and I know there's so many fans of Effy out there, check it out. And give Parrow his flowers too. This is a dude that I feel does not get the recognition that he deserves, and Deathmatch Parrow is my favorite Parrow. This dude is a monster, and just is so different than a lot of the wrestlers that you see in that scene. So again, check this one out on IWTV. You can follow me on Instagram at Wrestling50, on Twitter as well at the same profile. You can subscribe to my channel here on YouTube so that you never miss a video. Follow me. Like I said, like the video. Let me hear your comments if you check this one out. And we'll catch you again next time as we continue to count down Pro Wrestling's Top 50.